Recording?
Yeah.
What's up guys, this is my 1987 VL Calais. I bought this car about 6 or 7 years ago, completely stock standard. It had the original paint, the original factory non-turbo engine, automatic transmission, all that boring stuff. This car's been under the knife several times in my ownership. I've changed a lot about it. To and fro, I've had it manual and back to auto, back to manual, back to auto, lots of things. So there have been many different versions of this car while I've owned it with different setups. So I'll give you a quick rundown on its current setup and what we're doing to it at the moment. So it currently has a R33 RB30 5D automatic transmission, which we've made like a custom little computer module to control the trans, because we have a Link G4X in here which doesn't control the transmission, so we had to make our own standalone little unit to do that. It's very simple and very basic. It has a Chinese GDX 35 turbo on it. It has some XYZ coilover adjustable suspension, 6-boost manifold, some big injectors. That's the most of it. ProFlow throttle body, aftermarket custom intake, plenum, Phoenix radiator, big front mount, all the basic stuff as you'd expect. So about 2 years ago I got carried away and bought this exhaust manifold and that intake manifold, and then a fair bit needed to be changed to make it adapt, and I put it on the back burner for a while, and then I started other projects and this just sort of got left behind. When the Datsun went back home a couple of weeks ago, I got a bit of motivation and dragged this from over that side of the shed into the middle here, and man, a few of the boys got carried away and started getting it going again. So we've, in the last week had a few late nights just chipping away at it, trying to make it run. I have had it running this week, but it was terrible because it needs a full tune, and with the larger injectors the map was completely wrong. So it actually, it failed the plug several times, and I think it cooked my wideband sensor, so I might have to buy a new one, might try cleaning it. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at the moment. So during the week I recorded a couple of wee clips just of me changing the turbine housing and installing the radiator and the thermofan. There's been way more than that happened this week, but those are the only things that I sort of remembered to record and video. But it's been a lot happening, and it's nearly ready to go to the dyno. Fingers crossed. We may even do a wee start up today. Might clean that O2. I've already replaced the plugs again. I need to clean the wideband, and then we're going to try a different method of tuning it, because this had a tune on a traditional map rather than a VE map, which means it's not easy to, you have to change the entire map. You can't just change the scaling of the map in one go. So we're going to use a base map, which Link provides with the ECU, which you can just download off the internet, write that to the computer, and then I think it should be a VE map, and we can input all the injector data and it will just correct the table to suit the size of the injectors. So we might try that this over. And fingers crossed my wideband works, because I really want the wideband working. So this being a Chinese GTX replica turbo, it's just a cheap turbo. The turbine housing was really small. It was like a 0.82 or something, and this is a 1.01. That's a Garrett turbine housing. So changed that this week, and didn't take long. But just one of those little jobs.
And what are you doing today in there?
So with this intake manifold, it doesn't have any provisions for idle control. So I bought just a universal remote mount. There's part of my mess down there. A universal idle control valve, which is sort of sitting under the intake manifold at the moment, and I've been trying to plumb that up, but I don't have the right fittings, hence the AN fittings all spread all over the floor. So we're just sort of trying to make that work, because it really does want some idle control, especially because at the moment it's automatic. It's got a high stall converter, and it will need some sort of idle control. So yeah.
What are you expecting on the dyno?
Either a mess on the floor or about 400 horsepower.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that engine there with that turbo, that made about 480 horsepower at the fly, which it was awesome. It was really cool actually. And this has better parts on it. It's got probably the biggest cam you can put in it without needing just to go to twin cam basically. So it sounds freaking cool at idle for for a 6-cylinder. It sounds real aggressive, which is neat. Yeah, and a good sized turbo and some big injectors. I am just running on pump gas. I'm not going ethanol, and also don't have any water meth or anything like that. So we'll definitely be knock limited. But I mean, shit, if it breaks 400 horsepower, we're happy. It should do.
Yeah. I really like this car, man, you know, because we don't
cool,
have, like, it's pretty much like a New Zealand and Australian car, right?
Very much New Zealand Australian car.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a New Zealand new car, so this was imported brand new. Bought some work emotion Kiwamis for it. I actually bought these off you, didn't I?
Yeah, long ago.
I bought these off Billy like 3 years ago for BMW. And they're pretty dirty. Sorry, bro, I haven't been looking after them.
You're
the
right.
whole thing, I mean, this hasn't... When the Datsun come here, I towed this next door to my neighbour's place, stored it there for a year, and then towed it back here like maybe 6 months ago when I sold the GDR. So it's just been sitting here, neglected. It's been a tool bench and a storage shelf for 2 years. So yeah.
This is a cool car, bro. I really like this.
Yeah, man. VR Calais are cool, eh? It's just cool because it's like an Australian car. They're actually not very good. They were poorly assembled. Just everything on them was shit. Bosch electronics, which are crap, and just like, if you own one of these, you'll know what I mean. They're pretty rubbish. But they've got a Nissan RB engine from factory, which is really neat. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thrilling, man.
What did you decide to do today, bro?
What did I decide to do?
Yeah.
We went to the car show.
Yeah.
Yeah, went over to Tinwald and went to Williams Photography's car show. It's pretty cool. Good job, Jaden. Well done. It was cool. Lots of cool cars.
You'll be cold?
Yeah, it was heaps cold, eh? And it got warmer after we left, which was annoying. I came home and started cleaning the garage, and then got sad about how the VL hadn't been touched in 2 years, pretty much. So I shuffled it over in the garage and started chipping away at it. And then all the boys turned up, now we're getting stuck into it. And we'll probably hopefully get it running later.
What time is it now?
Oh, it must be like 11. It's
11:30.
11:30. Yeah.
I believe we're gonna get it running, bro.
I reckon we can at least fire it, but it won't be reassembled completely.
Alright.
There's heaps of shit that isn't like, I don't even have a top filler neck hose or radiator hose. Lots of shit's going to be pretty hoary, but we'll make it go.
What are you doing there, man?
Filling a hole where the air conditioning used to be. No more air conditioning. Gone. Is that the one?
What's happening?
This is the new air-cooled ECU, so we had to cut the back out of it. It's going to make that much power, so we've had to get extra ventilation into our ECU.
Did you see that with?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's about a 13 horsepower gain we're looking at.
What did you do on it, bro, so far?
What have we done on the car so
Yes,
far?
yeah.
Installed the new inlet manifold, gasket, replaced the injectors, fit a different fuel rail, replaced the oil pressure sensor, made a throttle cable bracket, just kind of hoary, and modified the accelerator pedal to suit the new cable length. And yeah, that's what I've done. The other boys have done more.
What's left to do?
Quite a lot, and there'll be heaps more that we haven't realised yet until we find the problems.
Okay.
But yeah, well, we haven't even got intercooler piping. And I've also just noticed that the factory TPS, which is sort of all I've got here, doesn't suit the new throttle body. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. I might have to run the factory throttle body if the bolt pattern's the same, which it almost definitely won't be. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll work it out. Last weekend, dragged it out from this corner of the garage and shuffled it over, and yeah, did a bunch of stuff. Mainly a lot of wiring. The ECU was a bit of a nightmare. We had the dash cluster out of it. We had the entire dash assembly out of it, and had to reinstall this Link G4X in there, with an aftermarket fuse box, which is up in there now. From factory, the fuse box sits just here. in this area here, and they're prone to melting and getting a bit hot. And I've had a couple of near misses with my fuse box being there, so I thought I'd move it. Yeah, so after putting the G4X in, noticed that there were a lot of differences. A couple of years ago I bought a bunch of new parts for this to try and make it a bit nicer. It doesn't actually look that nice at the moment, but hopefully it'll get there. So yeah, the parts I bought were I bought a 6-boost manifold, this Chinese turbo, this custom front facing plenum, this ProFlow throttle body, raceworks, fuel rail, some bigger injectors because it had GDR injectors which I think are 440cc's, and these ones are some other brand, Injector Dynamics I think, 660s, they're a bit bigger. Bought this Phoenix radiator which was clean and new but it's now a tool bench. Yeah, lots of little changes which turned it into quite a big job to just patch it back up and get it going, but I got the motivation now, so we'll get stuck into it and try and get it all ready for a tune in a couple of weeks. So yeah, this turbo, which is just a Chinese GDX 35 something, can't actually remember, the turbine housing on it is a 0.82, which in my opinion is far too small for what I'm wanting to achieve. So I did manage to acquire this, which is the genuine version of this turbo, the turbine housing off of a genuine Garrett turbo, and this one is 1.01, so it's quite a bit bigger and will certainly be far better for the 3 litre. And yeah, it's also, this engine's got pretty aggressive aftermarket cam in it, so it'll need a bigger turbine housing to suit this. That turbine housing was it spooled up far too quickly and made boost really early and then fell over really quick. Yeah, so I have actually driven this engine like this with the G4, but without that intake manifold. I had, I think, that intake manifold on it, this real yucky looking thing here that I made a few years ago. And yeah, the turbine housing was too small, so we'll put that big one on it. We'll do that now, and yeah, let's go. Oh yeah, how good are V-bands? This took about 5 minutes to get off. That's pretty good. Don't judge my downpipe, it's not best, but it works and didn't leak, so it's gonna stay like that. Alright, time to take this one off and see if this one fits. Hopefully all the dimensions and internal diameters are the same. I'm a wee bit worried that this one might be slightly different for maybe some copyright reasons. There's your nice big blue label badge right there. That's the number of it. 3582. Yeah, sweet as. It's cool. So I've taken a bunch of measurements with the verniers. All of the nominal diameters are perfect. They're all exactly the same. I've actually already slid this on over there and it does fit like a glove, which is absolutely awesome. Pretty happy about that. I was a wee bit worried it wasn't going to fit, but yeah, it definitely will. So that's fucking awesome. You can see the size difference there between those two. This is a 101 and this has no number stamped anywhere on it that I can see. From memory, I think it was a 0.82, which would be fine for, I don't know, like a high horsepower XR20 or maybe a RB20 or RB25, but yeah, in my experience you need a larger turbine housing on an RB30. That one there, for example, is like 1.17. It's absolutely fucking huge, and on paper probably too big for an RB30, but that turbo was really actually well sized for that motor. So this being a 101, it definitely won't be too big, and this was too small, so we might hit the butter zone with this one here. So yeah, we'll pop her on now, get it back in there, and go for gold. It's good, eh? That bigger turbine housing definitely looks the right size. It's a bit uglier than the Chinese one, just with this extra ridge in there, but I don't know, see for a reason. Rubbish. Pulled out the Phoenix radiator, put a thermo fan on it, took it off of that old one over there, and just doing a test to make sure that it's pulling rather than pushing. So I got the Milwaukee test gun on. Mint. I'm now going to overconfidently just put some fresh coolant in it, even though I guarantee there's some leaks somewhere because a lot of the cooling system has been changed. In fact, I don't even think I've ever put coolant in it since I put that cylinder head on it. But, oh, here we go. So now you're all up to speed with the story behind this car and what's been going on the last couple of weeks with it. So hopefully the next video about the VR will be of it blowing up on the dyno and big fireball, lots of oil everywhere. This is an unopened engine. Well, it's got a different cylinder head on it, just because you had to modify the cylinder head to fit the big cam in it. So the cylinder head's been refreshed, but the whole bottom end's never been opened. So it'll be good.
It won't blow up,
It
man.
might blow up. Yeah. That engine there has taken some abuse. That engine did get rebuilt, just rings and bearings and some machining, and that took a hiding, man. I did so many skids in it. Big skid at my wedding and just all the time doing Limmy Bash skids, and we actually pulled the motor out of this and put it in my mate's Laurel so he could run drift south with that engine, and it handled all of that abuse, and there was no reason it couldn't have just gone back in and kept going. But this engine was already running and installed, and it was less work for me to swap the cylinder heads than it was to put the whole engine in. So I just banged that head on it, and then that was about when it got parked up, when I started doing all of that.
True.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Shaka, brah.